Hi, my name is Omi and this is part 3 of the Anki tutorial. In the last video, we covered the closed card type. In this video, we'll be going over how to use the second most useful card type, image occlusion. The image occlusion card type allows you to hide parts of an image. The back of the card will reveal the previously hidden parts. You can imagine that this would be useful in learning anatomy. While there isn't anatomy on the MCAT, there are many concepts that are represented in diagrams like metabolic pathways that are perfect for the image occlusion card type. You could even use it for learning equations and chemical structures. In order to make an image occlusion note, we need to select the deck that the card will be added to. I'm going to be using the test deck. So first we click on the test deck and click the Add button to add a new card. Okay, we've seen this window before, and it still shows the fields for the closed card type. To make an image occlusion card, we need to have the image copied to the clipboard. This means we either need to use the copy function or Control-C or the screenshot function to have the image saved to our clipboard. Usually I use the screen capture. So you can search for an image in your browser or from a copy of your MCAT prep book and use the shortcut Shift, Windows key, and S. Drag and select the image, and now it's copied to the clipboard. Back in the Add New Card window, you can use the shortcut Control-Shift-O or the icon in the top right to open the image occlusion window. Now we can see the image that we screenshotted earlier. There are a few shortcuts we can learn that will make navigating the image occlusion screen much easier. If you used any image editing software before, these might sound familiar. You can use your scroll wheel to move your view of the image up or down. You can hold the Control key and use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out of the image. You can hold the Shift key and the scroll wheel to move your view left or right. Use these shortcuts to manipulate your view of the image. The rectangle shape occlusion will be automatically selected when the image occlusion window opens. You can click and drag on the image to draw a rectangular occlusion. You can use the anchor points on the outside of the rectangle to change the size of the occlusion. When you want to reposition an occlusion, you need to make sure that you have the selection tool selected here, the shortcut for which is the key S. So once we have that selected, we can move around our occlusion. We can see on this image that there are lots of words we might want to cover up. It's too time-consuming to draw boxes around all of them. We can use the duplicate shortcut to make a copy of the box we just drew by pressing the key D. Now we can cover up multiple words on the same image without having to draw the box each time. You also have the option to draw a circular occlusion. There might be a situation where you want to cover up two words at the same time, and you'd want them to be revealed together. So in this example, I might want to remember that ATP gets converted to ADP, so I'd want these occlusions to be linked. You can do that by using the Select tool to select both the shapes that you want, and right-clicking and using the Group function. The shortcut is the letter G. So now when we go to review this card, both of these occlusions will be revealed at the same time. Now let's turn our attention to the Fields tab at the top of the window. Just like with the closed card type, image occlusion cards can have extra information. The first field is the header. This will show up on the front of the card. I usually use this field to include a prompt asking me what to identify. For this card, I might type name the glycolytic intermediate. This header will show up with every card in the note. Remember that a note contains multiple cards. every separate occlusion counts as another card in the overall note. Using the header field will save you time from having to separately enter a header for each card. The other useful field is the extra field. This will show up when you reveal the back of the card, just like the closed card type. You can use this field to include explanations or mnemonics. Be aware that the same text editing options are not available on this screen as the closed card type. What I mean by that is that you won't be able to use symbols or superscripts here, but you can use them in the browser window, which I'll show you later in this video. Now that we're all set up, we have to actually add the card to our deck. We can confirm in the Fields tab that we're adding the card to the test deck. We can also change the selected deck by clicking on it. At the bottom of the window, we can see that it says Add Cards with a few options. The first option is Hide All Guess 1. That means all the occlusions will remain over the card when you see it, and it will only reveal one occlusion at a time. The other option is Hide 1 Guess 1, which will only hide one occlusion per card and show you all the other occlusions you made. This will make more sense when I show you what the cards look like when you go to review them. I mostly use the first option, Hide All Guess 1. When we click it, it shows us how many cards we just created, in this case 4. You can exit the window after adding the cards. Let's see what the image occlusion card looks like when we review it. Click on the test deck and click Study Now. In the occluded image, we can see that one of the boxes is red and the others are beige. Because we chose the Hide All Guess 1 option, the rest of the occlusions remain covered. This wouldn't be the case in the Hide 1 Guess 1 option. The red box is the one we need to identify. Just like with the closed card, once we show the answer, it will reveal the blank and we enter how easy or difficult it was to recall. Now it moves on to the next occlusion. When you use this card type, it will be mixed in with your closed type cards, so your next card might be a closed card or another image occlusion card. The last thing I need to show you is the browser window. We can access this screen by clicking Browse at the top of the window. This is essentially an Explorer window for your decks. You can click on the deck on the left side to show the cards that are contained within it. This allows you to edit or delete cards after you add them. You can also see any of the tags you used to organize your cards here. Remember when I said you won't have access to some of the text editing options in the image occlusion window? Well, you can use them here. The browser is really important because you'll want to constantly edit your cards to make them better. You'll either add more information, rewrite the card text, or add more occlusions and closes to existing cards. You can also use the browser window to suspend cards. Suspended cards won't show up in your reviews. One situation you might use this feature is during a semester in college or in medical school. Say if you finish the semester and don't need to review that information anymore. When you select the deck, you can select all the cards by clicking Ctrl A, right-click, and hit the Toggle Suspend option. Now the cards are marked yellow, and now that they're suspended, they won't show up in your daily reviews. I need to mention one last thing about adding or removing closes to cards. Something weird will happen when you try to do it. Say if I want to remove a close from a note. In this example, I want to remove the C2 chymotrypsin. So if I get rid of that syntax, Anki will still think that there's a C2 close card. When I go to review the cards, we can see that the C1 close is still intact, but when it gets to the C2 card, it will say close to is not found. It's fine if you see this screen. All you have to do is use the Empty Cards tool. You can find this by clicking the Tools menu and click Empty Cards. Here it will show you the cards that have empty closes. So these are the cards that Anki can't find a close to. All you have to do is click Delete, and it will clean up your deck, so you don't have to worry about it. These are some of the useful shortcuts we went over in the tutorial. Pause the video if you need to refer to them. And these are the rest of the shortcuts. Okay, let's go over some best practices when using Anki. These are guidelines that will help you get the most out of Anki. I've mentioned some of these in the past videos. First, color and bold your cards to make them visually distinctive. This will help you visually encode the information and will allow you to scan for keywords quicker. When writing a card, make sure to include just enough information for you to get the card right, but not too much that is obvious. In other words, don't give away the answer to the card. Use hints to guide yourself to the right answer. Load up the back extra field with any supplemental information, especially images. This will give you a reference whenever you need a refresher on the concept. The back extra field is also great for mnemonics. Don't just make up a mnemonic and expect to remember it. Write it down so you can not only reinforce the information, but also the mnemonic itself. When you use Anki to memorize a formula or equation, make sure to include what each variable represents. This is really important for the MCAT because different formulas will use the same letter for a completely different variable. You don't only need to memorize the formula, but also what the variable is and usually what units it's in. When reviewing cards, always be honest with yourself. You're only hurting yourself if you lie about getting a card right. If you didn't get exactly what the card says, click the Again button to have more chances to review it. Now this last point is important. Learning how to use Anki is a process. You won't be able to take advantage of everything it offers from the start. As you get comfortable with the software, you'll want to refine your cards. If you find that you're constantly getting the same card wrong, it probably isn't written well. You might want to memorize more or less than your original card, so head to the browser window to edit your cards. Always try making your cards better and find the way that works best for you. In the next video, I'll cover the content review phase. Thanks for watching.